This one might get me side-eyed, like a lot. Hi friends, welcome to my channel if you are new. If you're not, welcome back. It's good to see you again. One of the things that I love about reading and art in general is that it's very subjective and you can make what you want out of it. So I love romance, I love fantasy, fiction is just my jam. And I am going to specifically talk about romance today. But the great thing about being able to choose your own story, whether that's reading or writing, is you get to make what you want out of it. Just because one of the tropes that I am not going to write doesn't mean that you can't write it, doesn't mean that you shouldn't write it, doesn't mean that you can't read it. Like, shoot, I read some of these tropes that I'm talking about. It's more so just what I feel called to put out into the world. If I'm not interested in it, I'm not going to write something just because it's doing well with people, right? Like, I want to write things that light me up. I want to put things into the world that make other people happy, that make them smile, that make them feel. So I was not aware that I called a couple of subgenres tropes and some tropes genres. I don't know. I was just kind of like wrapping them all up, but they are very layered. You can do the research and see how layered if you'd like. While I was not aware while filming, I am very much aware, especially now. And I wanted to call that out. Okay, carry on. And the first trope that I will never write is a billionaire romance. I think they are so fun. Like the Dreamland series by Lauren Asher. I love Terms and Conditions, but like I love the idea of it when it comes to like just reading and like having a good time and funness. But I don't think I could write that. I think it's because I love writing characters who have not, I want to say like a struggle, but I want them to be able to solve their problems and work for it. I don't want them to be able to have easy access to money and be able to kind of take care of a lot of problems. Like I just don't want to write something like that. So when it comes to my characters, I want to write people who are in real life. I mean, maybe I'll even write like a celebrity story one day. I mean, I don't know if I really will, but if that was the case, it would probably be like a rags to riches. Like I'm very big on, I love a journey, I love growth. And not that the billionaire romances don't have growth in them. I just, when it comes to what I'm willing to write, I don't want to center extreme wealth. I also, because like I'm like, how many billionaires do we need in the world? And so while a fantasy of it can be fun to read, I just can't imagine myself creating a character that's a billionaire and then creating the opposite of them or creating another billionaire. It just feels like it's not a world that I want to create, but I don't mind to walk into. Walking into the next trope that I will never write, dark romance and mafia romance. I wanted to tie these two together because I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think mafia is a little bit tied with dark romance. Maybe not completely, but either way, they kind of both hold the same kind of vibe for me. Now, don't get me wrong, I do love Emily McIntyre's Hooked and her Ever After series. I also think it's because I just love Disney. And I think that's also, I mean, I think she's a great writer. And so I'm happy I gave it a chance. But I also think I was drawn to it because it was like rewritten tales of Disney characters. And I loved it. So when it comes to it, I just don't read that side of the romance genre. It's a bit much for me. There are times where I'm able to kind of look past something because like it's really well written, or maybe I just want to give it a shot. I do like to kind of break out of my comfort zone every once in a while. Like you never know what you'll be able to like. It's kind of like I'm not a really big country listener, right? But like there are a couple of country songs that I'm glad I listened to because they're really good. So like there are very much exceptions to the rule, but I just don't really like that side of the genre. Very chaotic, very can be violent. And I say that as a lover of Supernatural. I think the main reason I love that show is just because I love the relationships. I love the growth between Sam and Dean. When Cass comes in, and so I say that because like I kind of look past the gore of Supernatural. Like there are times where I'm just like, I'm gonna close my eyes. But it's the story. It's the story and the heart of the show. And then when you get into the later of the seasons, they're just having so much fun, and they all they literally look like they care for each other, and I love that stuff. And it's kind of the same when it comes to my books and my stories. For example, but Butcher and Blackbird, I wanted to like that one so much. It was really well written, but it was very, very heavy to read. And again, well written. So this is not on the writer. It's definitely what I could handle. And if I can't handle reading that, I can't see myself writing that. And sometimes people are able to kind of like have a barrier, and I love that for you. That's so cool. I'm not one of those people. When it comes to all that, it's just like I don't really want to dive into that side of romance. I really don't, but I love that for everybody who can, because the playlist for Butcher and Blackbird was amazing. Girl got good taste, and I do think it helped with the story, and I was trying so hard. Maybe I could try again later on in the future, but at the moment it's just not my vibe. Going into my next trope that I am not writing, and that is going to be sports romance. Yeah. Now, I have played softball when I was younger, and then I did track and field when I was in high school. I understand sports to a bare minimum, but when it comes to finding it interesting, like outside of baseball, and even then, I'm just like, this is not entertaining me. And like, while I think it could be cute to write, like you say, like a book lover and a baseball player, and they somehow they just click, and even though nobody thinks they can succeed, they, against all odds, they make it through. Like, that sounds fun. That'd be cute. And I love the idea of that. So it's like, I like reading some sports romances. I think they're fun. They definitely have their place. Like Heated Rivalry, the representation, I love it. And I think there was a hockey player that came out, it inspired him to come out because the show based on the book came out. I love that. I love that so much. So there's definitely a place for it, and I definitely think we need more, especially if it gets people to, be true to themselves and, I don't know, try something new. But I don't really want to write it just because it's like outside of being able to enjoy some of the stories and seeing the good it can do. I think I would prefer to just kind of like leave that up to other people, because regardless, I don't read that many sports romances, but it's not something I dislike. So it's kind of like the same as the billionaire romance. Even though I don't want to write it, I'll gladly read a book in that trope, maybe once every couple months, once every year. And I feel like if I'm going to spend months with a character that is a sport player, has to be in the sport world, I want to feel pulled into that world. And I don't naturally find myself falling into sports and sport romance. But again, I think it's a great trope that should definitely be out there. And I do think we do need more people who are into writing that to write it. So this next trope, it's a triggering one for sure, but it is the cheating redemption trope. I don't know of that many books that have done that, but I know they're out there. And I just want to say that is not something that I ever plan to write on. I just feel cheating especially when you're in a monogamous relationship, just crosses a line that I don't want to explore in fiction. I'm really big on that. And like I said earlier, I very much want to create an emotional space for my future readers, for myself. It's a very triggering thing to think of, just due to personal experience, my personal background. And if that's something that you love to see, like if that's like your second chance romance, then I think that's great. I think there's a lot of complexities with it, and we like what we like. Like I said, art is very subjective. It's not something I want to write. It's just not something I want to create. And I believe there's other ways to have growth, to have tension in a relationship than having a partner cheat on you. That goes through real life too. But I feel strongly in that, and it's okay if you disagree with me. If there's anything that you have in defense of it, I would love to hear your takes on it. But when it comes to changing minds, like this is probably like the one trope nobody will be able to change my mind on, because I do feel very strongly on it. I definitely could use it like as backstory. So like, say for example, my main character, she had a partner that cheated on her or left her for another woman. That to me is fine, because once that character is gone, he's gone. He's not coming back. We've got a new love interest. We're moving on with our life. To me, that's fine, because then I'm like, I get to kind of like help the character grow and work on herself and find a new way to be okay. Like, and to show her, I'm like, you don't need that man, or you don't need that person. And that as a backstory, a-okay. That as a point in growth and healing is a-okay to me. But I would never have that for my main love interest. I just feel like it's a bit too much for me. And that's all I'll say on that. Okay. So this one might get me side-eyed, like a lot. But this next trope that I will never write is friends to lovers. I know. Nothing wrong with this genre at all. In fact, I think there's so many friends to lovers stories that are done very well. But when it comes to writing, I feel like there's so many other ways to have a person become one's partner, like in a romance. I know that for me, just light backstory, I know I did have a friends to lovers situation happen, and it did not end well, like at all. And so I could also be a little jaded, just a little jaded. And that's okay. I've got a great fiance and all that good stuff. To have that inevitable relationship, I'm like, oh, they've been friends since they were kids. They've been glued to each other's sides. There's nothing wrong with that. But to create more of that in the romance world, I don't necessarily think I need to. Especially because while you can do the research, we can be imaginative, we can create. That is the beauty of being a writer, being able to create all these different worlds. I love it. I don't really want to create that. I think like I wouldn't mind creating that for like some side characters in my stories, but for my main characters, I don't know. I think I would just like to play around with other tropes, other ideas, other ways to connect them. And I say that, and I mean, personally, like, I met my fiance off of Bumble, and it's been the best decision of my life. And so it's like, I love that friends to lovers is out there, and I definitely think it should be represented because it is a real thing. A lot of people do end up friends to lovers. So I don't think I need to put any more stories out there. And I could change my mind because, again, it's not a bad trope, but I mean, at the moment, I don't really want to. I will say, caveat, I wouldn't be mad if I had a character and she moved back home for the first time in like 15 years, or her high school best friend is recently single, or like also moved back home, and maybe they never saw each other that way when they were kids, but as adults, they're looking real good. I wouldn't mind writing that because that actually sounds really fun. But also, it's because they're coming together as new people. If they haven't seen each other since they were kids, like in high school, they're new people. They've changed. They've gone through stuff. So it's like they've had time apart. So to me, that's not even like a true friends to lovers, because like, I mean, it's a new relationship. But that's just me. Let me know what you think about that. I did want to include a special someone in today's video because I was talking about this. He came up with some really, really good thoughts, and I thought it would be cool to record them, kind of do like a little interview, and share them with you guys. This is my fiance, Chris. Yeah, I wanted to get his perspective on the friends to lovers trope kind of thing. I was talking to him about it, and he had some very interesting takes. So Chris, I guess like my first thing that I would like us to just jump into is when it comes to the friends and lovers trope, like how do you view it as a reader and then as a potential writer, because he's also wanting to be a writer. You know, he's got some stories to tell.
So when it comes to the friends to lovers, it's not that I'm necessarily against it. It's that I hate how it's implemented in a solid number of stories. Friends to lovers is it is one of the many paths you can go down between two characters who have an affectionate relationship. And balancing the beginning, middle, and end of those different potential relationship paths is the management of relationships within a story. One of the classic story structures for adventure or fantasy is the 5-man band. You'll have the leader, the lancer, the big guy, the smart guy, and the heart. And the way that those different character archetypes within the 5-man band interact with one another and develop relationships really goes a long way to shaping how a team story goes. Some of these relationships are very baked in, but when you have those 5 points, you have all the different 2-point connections for one-on-one relationships, you have trios that you can look at, and you have the team minus one person, and then you have the whole team. Looking at stories through the perspective of how many characters and how many relationship interactions are happening, friends to lovers takes a very generally equally footing, open-ended relationship in the form of friends and begins to make it into a more linear, closed track as lovers. Every story has this kind of emotional economy or bandwidth, depending on how you want to look at it, for a reader to process. And when you kind of silo a relationship that had all these possibilities into a singular romantic lover story, you end up with that one kind of having fewer places to go, but taking up more space than some of the other relationships. And because you have a finite number of pages, that is going to cost the screen time of other types of relationships. So since conflict is a primary driver of relationship storytelling, I think it also kind of perpetuates more conflict-oriented, less communication resolution-oriented relationship. You could be missing out on really great stories of friendships. Favorite examples is in Captain America Civil War, where you have Captain America and Black Widow who, despite having a kiss scene and a shirtless scene, they
I don't remember the kiss scene.
In the mall when they're getting away from the guys.
It's been a long time since I've seen that movie. Oh,
public displays of affection make people very uncomfortable. Yeah, I know.
True.
So, that just was kept as friends and colleagues, and it was a great relationship through the movie and into the sequels because of that.
I will say, when it comes to the friends to lovers, because you're still able to enjoy it, like I think there can definitely be friendships that turn to lovers in like a good, healthy way. Like, for example, Percy and Annabeth from Percy Jackson.
The way that Percy and Annabeth's relationship is managed and developed by Riordan throughout the series goes back to what I was saying about management of relationships and the kind of emotional economy. Because Percy Jackson is a not just single protagonist driven story, it's a first person POV for the original book run. Because of that, focusing on the relationship like that, because you're seeing it all from the perspective of someone who is 50% of that relationship, it works much better because Percy is constantly going full Hamlet, talking about his viewpoints on his relationships with other people. So you get to be along for the ride. You're not worried about the relationship so much between Grover and Annabeth, because if that's happening, you're going to hear about it from Grover or Annabeth venting to Percy. So because you're stuck on the first person POV throughout the first 5 books, it does work very well, and it manages to keep the economy of emotions in balance.
Okay. Well, thank you, Chris, for your takes. I just thought it'd be nice to throw them in. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that as much as I did. But yeah, so before I end this video, this was just supposed to be a fun video so you guys can kind of get to know me more as a writer and see where my head's at as I craft all these different stories and share them with you. Because when Project Velvet is done and good to go, we're going to the next one. I've got at least 2 WIPs that I'm ready to touch, but I'm staying committed. We're going to get my girl done. I'm going to see her to the light. She's taken a lot of work, but it's gonna be so worth it. And then I am so excited I have so many ideas, and I'm so excited because the ideas that I do have, the tropes that I want to write, I really wish we didn't have to resort to tropes because it's very marketing heavy, but I mean, it is the game. It also makes it easier to find a book that you can fall in love with. I'm not gonna talk down on it, but I have so many ideas that I'm so excited to kind of just keep diving into when Project Velvet is done. There are some that may not see the light of day, but there are a lot that I really want to share with the world. It makes me giddy, it makes me happy. So I'm really excited about that. Hopefully this video, again, gave you an insight to me. And also, I would love it to start a good conversation because I know I talked about a couple of tropes that a lot of people love. And again, they have their place. 3 out of the 5, I still do read. I don't read them as often, but I do still read them. It's just more so what I feel comfortable and what I want to put out into the world, you know? Of course, we may have different thoughts. That's a-okay, and I'd love to know what you're thinking. Let me know down below if there are tropes that you never plan to write either, or if you never plan to read them. I think, they're on the 2 sides of the same coin. There are some tropes that you may like reading, but you don't want to write. And maybe it's vice versa too. At the moment, I don't have anything like that, but let me know if you have a trope that you wouldn't mind writing, but you don't think you would read it. That would be a very interesting comment. So please let me know because I would love to talk to you to get to know a little bit more about that. That's very, very interesting. I think we have a very great conversation about there. So let me know what you guys think. Leave me a brown heart, be a part of the Brown Heart Club, letting me know that you made it this far. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I'll see you in the next one.